Hello, loves. Hello, hello. It is Hills here from the Blue Flame Apothecary. How are we doing? We have this energy. There are currently 7 planets in retrograde. We have Chiron retrograde. We have Jupiter retrograde. We have Mercury retrograde. We have Uranus retrograde. We have Neptune retrograde. Is that all 7 of them? Venus is still in shadow retrograde. As we start to bring in the energy of the Virgo New Moon, which happens on the 14th or the 15th, depending on where you're located, it's at 6:40 p.m. Pacific time. As we start to bring in this energy, I'm going to invite us to feel back into September 4th. There was an Akashic Portal that opened on this day. I have a transmission about that portal here on the YouTube channel. I'll link it below and end cap this video with it. But to bring in some of this energy right now feels important, because while the portal opened to its widest point in many ways on September 4th, that was the door opening. And the energy is running straight through this new moon and really straight through the equinox and the month of September. And though this is the Virgo New Moon report, energy update, this is also an update that will carry us through the energies of September and through the equinox itself. I will, of course, share something about the equinox in a separate video in the coming week. But one of the important aspects of the energy that we're currently navigating is we have been gifted. It might not always feel like a gift, but we have been gifted access to layers of our wounding, of our core wound, that were not previously accessible to us. What does that mean? First, to say, this is true whether you have been doing shadow work for years and years and years and you feel like you have dug up every possible thing that you could dig up about your soul's journey, about the way that about the patterns and the projections that you interact with in your day-to-day life in this incarnation, or you just started. You're just kind of shaking off the cobwebs and saying, oh, wow, look, I didn't even notice that before, but look at that. I've been doing that for ages. Literally ages. Let me feel. So we're going to go into September the 4th, which will help us, will come back through that doorway to open us wider into the Virgo New Moon energies. Alrighty, let's do it, shall we? On September the 4th, and also currently as you're watching this video, and on the Virgo New Moon, and through most of the month of September, the North Node in Aries is exactly conjunct Eris, who is also retrograde. Eris is also retrograde. So Eris is creation energy. She is like the Big Bang sort of energy. Very similar in some ways in frequency to Kali, in that the energy of Eris will not allow you to stay small, to stay hidden, and will reveal to you those patterns and places where you are operating in a place, from a place of wound, from a place of deep trauma, especially with regards to inequality, especially with regard to inequality, fairness, and justice. So from a from a collective point of view, we can view this as not allowing unequal social structures to continue to exist, bringing them back into balance. And the way that this balance is brought back in is an equalization. So it's not a pulling of one down to allow the other to rise up, but a finding of the highest available frequency point and bringing everything else up to meet it, letting anything that doesn't fit, that doesn't flow in that harmonic, fall away. Let me feel. So we have that North Node, right? North Node conjunct Eris. Across the way is the South Node in Libra. And the South Node in Libra, we've talked a lot about this, is helping us to come back into right relationship with our interconnectedness. Moving from codependence or go it alone, kind of wounded relationships, to a place where we can stand sovereign, that's that Aries North Node energy, while working interdependently. Easy for me to say. The South Node in Libra has been closing in on the stellar dimension that we call Arcturus. Arcturus, I've talked quite a bit about, and I'll share again here that Arcturus is sometimes called the way station. We can view this as the weighing of the scales, and we can see that in reflection of this stellar dimension appearing in the sign Libra, right? It is the place where we go for our life planning sessions, and it's the place where we go for our life review sessions. It holds portals and access points to the Akashic records, to the library of our soul's journey. So when the South Node travels through this point, our access point to the where we have been is exemplified. It is so much bigger. I talked a lot about this, and like I said, I'm going to link the Akashic Portal video to this transmission, to this update. But I wanted to lay that foundation for us, to bring us through that door, because so many of the energies that were running as that portal opened widest are still running right now. Okay, with that foundation laid, and this includes someone I'm about to talk about, which is Jupiter. Part of the reason that the portal was so strong on September the 4th is because that was the day that Jupiter shifted retrograde in Uranus. It was also the day that Venus shifted forward. So, like I said, Venus is still in shadow retrograde and will be throughout the rest of this month. So all of the energies that we have been moving through since July, and really since June when Venus first entered Leo, we're still moving through all of that. But we're collecting the gifts, would be a way to feel into this shadow retrograde period. We're sorting through everything that we unearthed, that we discovered about our creative potential while Venus was retrograding in Leo. And we are kind of mining for the gold within that. And as Venus continues to move forward now through Leo until next month in October, when she finally moves into Virgo, we get to be sifting through all of that and reintegrating the stuff that's true for us as we let go of anything. We let all of the debris, the not gold, kind of fall away, go back into the river, as it were. So on the new moon, this direct Venus and this retrograde Jupiter, as they were on the 4th of September, will be in square to one another. Just like on the 4th of September, Hecate is also conjunct Venus, as is Black Moon Lilith in this square. So, like I said, and I feel like I'm gonna keep repeating this, the portal that opened on the September 4th, this Akashic portal, is wide open. We are journeying through it, all through this new moon. Now let's get to the new moon. I just heard it's time. The sun and the moon were like, all right, let's go. We're ready. So the sun and moon are in Virgo. They're at the 21st degree of Virgo conjunct. Virgo is Earth priestess. Virgo is purifying, perfecting energy. It is virgin, wholeness energy. The sun and the moon coming together, we can feel this. The sun and the moon, when they come together, it is always a reflection of divine union. The union between the unconscious, subconscious, and the outward expression of self. That is what's reflected when the sun and the moon unite in the new moon. In Virgo, it is, yes, wholeness now. While this unification is happening, we are flying a kite. It's amazing. So the energy that we're in right now, like I said, we have access to core wounds, to old traumas, to places that we have not previously been able to access, to shadows and aspects of the wound that we are carrying, the kernel of that wound that has previously been inaccessible to us. So it can be really, really, really heavy. If you have been crying a lot, that is understandable. If you feel like, I just can't get out of bed today, that is understandable. We are, each and every one of us, in whatever way that happens for us, because we're all unique, and so the way we're shown things is also unique. Each and every one of us, in some way or form, is being shown something about ourselves, our soul, our purpose, our place in the world, the way we interact, that a year ago we would not have been able to see. Hell, we probably would not have been able to see this 3 weeks ago, honestly. Everything that has been happening over these last couple of years in particular, but we all know that is simply a progression of all of the other things that have happened over time and time. All of this has been activating and triggering in our systems, helping us to come through curtain and then come through another curtain again and then come through another curtain. And a lot of us might feel like, holy fucking shit, like how many curtains are there? How many curtains are there? I've been doing shadow work for decades and I can't believe that there is still another layer that I have to look at now. That's understandable. But it's because of all of this amazing work, all of these journeys that each and every one of us have been doing in our unique way and as a society as a whole, even though it might not always look like it, that we are finally able to access some of these deeper places. And the universe, source, the cosmos, the stars, and the planets, because they, like all of us, know that we couldn't do any of it if we didn't have our sense of humor and our lovely little jokes about us, have come together to make what is known as a kite in the sky during this very, very deep diving, very, very powerful purification, journeying new moon. So this is a lot to get into. We're going to get to fly a kite on this new moon. And let me feel what the best way to go in. Are we going to describe what a kite is first? Or are we going to play with the energy as we build the kite? That's what we're going to do. So we're going to build this kite. And a kite, if we think about it in terms of a child or an adult or, any being, or Ben Franklin, has a string that connects to the person who's holding this beautiful flying object. Like in Mary Poppins, we hold the kite string tightly and send it soaring. And we get to play with the wind and be flying, even with our feet on the ground. Even with our feet on the ground. We can discover electricity like Ben Franklin did. Or so the story goes. So when we feel into the energy of a kite, we can begin to feel into how we're able to be embodied and also flying. To be embodied and also flying. And this particular kite is made up with an Earth Grand Trine. So that being embodied piece is very, very much highlighted in this. So when we have a kite in the sky, we have a Grand Trine, which I spoke of. This particular Earth Grand Trine is the Sun and Moon in Virgo at the tip of the triangle, Uranus retrograde, and also technically Jupiter retrograde in Taurus. Over in Capricorn, our third Earth sign, Pluto retrograde. So we have 3 retrograde planets making up this Grand Trine. When we feel into what a Grand Trine represents, it is a capacity that an individual or that the collective has that is so innate to their being, to our being, that we don't even realize most of the time that it's there, that we have this capacity, that everyone around us can see it, plain as day. A lot of times it's also called a closed loop system. So it's not until someone shows it to you, that someone reflects it to you and says, don't you see this thing, this amazing gift that you have, that as individuals we're able to see. this aspect of ourselves. When we are talking about an Earth Grand Trine, what we're talking about is our manifestation abilities. The way that we can create structures and foundations. The amount of wholeness and interconnectedness with the all of everything that we have. Can you feel how, on a collective level, this is something that has been so true, but we haven't really been able to access it, but we forgot, and now we get to remember, and each and every one of us is reflecting this back to each other, like, oh, hey, didn't you know that, like, I am you and you are me and we're all together. We stand sovereign in our beautiful individual aspects and reflect for one another and combine. And like the forest, we have roots that connect in, and we have branches that connect in to form a canopy, and we help feed one another, and we help warn each other about diseases and other things. And like this is all this truth about us, that we have this beautiful interconnected, interdependent physical play that we get to engage in with one another, that we're already and that we always have been engaging in with one another. So that's the Earth Grand Trine. And because of all of this retrograde energy with Pluto and Capricorn breaking down the old ideas of separateness and go it aloneness and you've got to do it this way-ness, helping us to feel and to reveal in this, oh, right, I do this and it allows this person to do that, which allows that person to do that, which allows me to do this, and then I can do that with those people. Like, it's all this, like, it's this beautiful play. And Uranus and Jupiter over in Taurus, bringing in more awareness of our connection to the earth, allowing us to feel that we are the new technology within this earth. That's Uranus retrograde, that we can awaken to our capacity to purify and clear out our blood, and through that also allowing Gaia's rivers, the waters of Gaia, to clear as we clear our waters, the waters of Gaia to clear as we clear our waters. And Jupiter gets retrograde and says, let's make that bigger. Let's gift even more energy to that capacity. Let's gift even more energy to that capacity to clear out self-system. And through clearing out self-system, also gift all other beings and all other energies on this planet with an ability to clear out. Making space. It's making space. And that's what Virgo, at the tip of this triangle, is telling us, is reminding us about. And it's the new moon, so it's bringing us into that void point, going into that stillness, to that place of the dark moon, of the deepest parts of our unconscious and subconscious states of being, to those places. Remember, this is taking us deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper than we've ever been before, getting us into those places where now, with this access, as the moon births anew, re-emerges from the other side of the sun, we can start to see even more. We can bring even more of the gifts, that gold, up to the surface. So what makes this Grand Trine a kite? Just like the shape of a kite is a triangle with a bar and then a smaller triangle on top, This kite is the sun and moon connected in opposition to retrograde Neptune in Pisces. Now, Pisces is the higher heart. Neptune reveals. Neptune is also the ruler of Pisces. And Neptune in retrograde in Pisces is helping to, oh, thank you for that, acting as the water that helps separate the dirt, the other debris from the river that's not the gold. You wash it, right? When you pan for gold, you pull it all up and you wash it through the water, and it separates out and you're able to see those bits of gold. And this is what Neptune is doing in opposition to this new moon, acting as the water that runs through the sieve to help break up everything. It is the revealer. Remember how I mentioned that a grand trine is a gift, a gifting state of nature. The innate gifts that we hold here in this collective and individually when it's a grand trine in our chart, that we can't necessarily see because it's closed loop until someone or something comes in and presents it to us, to reveal it to us. This opposition running straight through the center from the point of the new moon into Neptune and Pisces is that reflective agent, right? It's the water running through the sieve, helping to break up the old ideas and the old patterns and the old ways of being, to reveal through higher heart that which is the gold, which is the gift, which is the beautiful state of beingness that each and every one of us has. And this is about our physicality, our state of being whole. And really it is about our it is about our journey of bringing more and more of our light into our physical beings, to coming into, like the sun and the moon, a state of unification between our physical beingness and our stellar beingness, our divine light. And Neptune pulls curtains back, and in retrograde is running the sieve so strong. And it almost is like bottom up, like pulling up and out through the higher heart. Pulling up and out through the higher heart. Neptune is also in what is known as a sextile. This is the top triangle, the little triangle that connects in. So sextile to Pluto in Capricorn, and sextile to Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus. Sextiles, like trines, are gifting, but they're not closed loop. So it's almost as if we can feel that Neptune is drawing a straight line to the unification of the sun and the moon in Pisces, in Virgo, and sending out messages between the underworld, our depths, and our heights, this awakening Uranus and Jupiter energy coming in. And here we really can start to feel that old faithful sort of like massive water spout energy coming in from the depths of our being and rising up and flowing out over us in a beautiful clarifying and clarifying stream. A beautiful clarifying and clarifying stream. Let me feel. There's a lot of other energies running very strongly during this new moon. Mercury, the day after, is going to shift direct, but again, like Venus, is going to stay in shadow retrograde for the rest of the month. So as I started this update, I shared that this energy that I'm talking about, the Akashic Portal energy that I opened with, and this Kite energy that's running right now, though the sun and moon will shift out of the Kite, this energy is continuing to move and carry us through the entire month, because as Mercury starts to turn around and shift direct again, Mercury is going to transit over this spot. And I'm going to let that siren go by. Let us allow it to alert us, to share with us a remembering. Yeah. What did it remind you of? What did it remind you to pay attention to? For me, I can share that it reminded me that no matter how deep the wound seems, no matter how scary the journey feels, I'm held, I'm protected. And this is true for all of us. It's funny that a siren going by my house as I'm recording this for you could give me that message. But this is part of the energy that we're in, and that interconnectedness that I'm sharing with you guys as a reminder again and again and again that we are all interconnected and interweaving with one another. And so the siren can go by, and I don't necessarily know who or what or why that fire truck needed to go by, but for me, it was reminding me that the journey I'm about to take, I'm about to embark upon a pretty profound pilgrimage starting on Friday. And there's fear, and there's a lot of grief, and the wounds that I'm being asked to look at as part of this run so far. It's the big one for me. It's the big one. But this siren came by, and it was like, oh, right, I'm held through it. And there are those who are looking out for me. I'm protected. And just like I'm sharing all of this with you, it is our interweaving. And you are protected, and you are held as you do this journeying into these really sometimes scary places. Let me feel, because there's something else that wants to come through to share with us. Pluto wants me to remind you that Pluto is still in a T-square with the nodes. This is actually a cardinal grand cross. This is actually a cardinal grand cross. this could get really heavy. Things are moving. Things are moving and shifting, and when things are moving and shifting, it can be uncomfortable. When we think that we have dug to the final point, and then all of a sudden we shift a piece of dirt and a massive cavern opens up in front of us, and we're asked to go into it, it can be scary. There's a reminder in it. As we go deeper into the tunnel, we start to realize that it is actually a birth canal, and that what we're doing is emerging into the new. Let's feel that one more time. Let's feel that one more time, okay? As we move, we're going to go straight in, because this new moon is so about the embodied state of being. We're going to actually go through the birthing process. Let's feel in mother's womb. Everything is safe and secure, for most of us anyways, while we're in our mother's womb. We've got all that we need to eat. We're warm in the fluid. We can breathe. But it's starting to get a little bit tight in there. We can't really move. And so we start to kind of move around a little bit, trying to find our place and our way, and a way that we can be where we can actually not be crammed in, right? And as we do all of that shifting and shuffling of our bodies, we come to a place where all of a sudden we can feel that it opens up. Oh wow, okay, here we go. I can stretch, and it's usually the top of the head, right? We can open up, and in meditation we can view this as the opening up of the door at the top of the head. The opening up of the door at the top of the head. And as that doorway opens up, we come into this tunnel. And now it's even tighter than it was before. And we're like, what the? Oh, I thought I was crammed in before. This is insane. This is ridiculous. And it's hard to breathe, and we can't really breathe, and we're like, what is going on? What is going on? I thought I was getting more space, and now I'm more constricted than ever. And I can't move at all. And then all of a sudden, there's a light. And the pressure on the top of our head starts to release. And then it finally, we push our heads out, and there's this oh wow. And then we start to flow even more out. And we're at that point now. A lot of us are at that point where we are either kind of doing that reshuffling of our system as we line up with the birth canal, or we're actually physically in that crunched up space of the birth canal. And as we start moving towards the equinox, we might start to feel that our head has got a little bit more air on it. It's open a little bit wider. Let me feel. And we do all of this just in time as we move through September to start to open up eclipse season, which begins with the first new moon in October. So this is the final new moon also until the solar eclipse in October. So yes, we're moving through all of this retrograde energy, and most of it's going to remain active into eclipse season. We are in the shadow of the Venus retrograde still. On the day after the new moon, or the day of, depending on your location, Mercury will shift direct but stay in shadow, and we will finally be letting Venus's shadow retrograde and Mercury's shadow retrograde go when we get to the full moon at the end of the month, and by the time we get to eclipse season. But it's a lot of retrograde energy. The rest of this year is these birth pains. It is about exploring these deep places. And that is part of the reason that we are being gifted the childlike enthusiasm of flying a kite on this new moon. So even in those darkest places, like through this tumultuous storm of shadow work, remember that we're all flying a kite. We are all strengthening the connection, the cord between our embodied form and our light. We're strengthening that connection to our source code. And with that, I'm going to leave you for now. I will be back next week with an equinox report, I'm sure. And in the next 48 hours or so, I'll be putting the Cosmic Light Drops update together. So there will be a link below to sign up for that newsletter. On Thursday, I will be facilitating the new moon transmission and share circle in the members portal. If that calls to you, please, please, please come on over and check it out. And there will be links below for all of the things. I also, over in the members portal, have a cord cutting meditation that I'm offering publicly for anyone who is called to it. There will also be links below for that. I would love to hear from you. If there is something that you are feeling as we move through all of this energy that you're called to share, let me know in the comments. I would love to witness and hold the space with you for that. If there was something in this video that was like, oh yes, there it is, amazing, let me know. And definitely, if you have not already, subscribe and like, share with your friends, anyone you think would get something from this. It is such a gift for me, to me, and for the work that I do in this world to share and to be shared. I love you, as always, in always, from, through, and beyond the all dimensions.